New video from Sunny V2 to break away from the gaming content for a little bit. Cocomelon, the most evil channel on YouTube.
My son is almost...
Let me go to 1080-60 real quick. YouTube likes to say that it's automatically on 1080-60, and then it's not.
My son is almost 2 and I've been letting him watch Cocomelon, but now I had to get him speech therapy so I can get him to talk. There are hundreds and hundreds...
That might be because your kid was on the tablet looking at the colors and listening to the sounds and not actually listening to what the sounds were sounding like. They just hear the noises. And you're not actually interacting with the kid and talking with the kid. The kid's just...
Hundreds of anecdotes in which parents mention the exact same problem. The Cocomelon show is so insanely addictive, it's being compared to nicotine and causing developmental issues amongst the kids who can't stop watching. Children's TV expert Jerica Sands calls it the most damaging show a child can watch, explaining the sneaky ways in which they make the show addictive. Firstly, there's the colors. Take for example the wheels on the bus. The 3 main colors, blue, green and yellow, are all at maximum saturation, meaning they cannot be made any brighter no matter how hard you try. Extreme saturation is normally used for alerts and notifications, as it's exciting, dynamic and attracts attention, which is why it's also used in slot machines. Cocomelon puts these colors in perfect contrast, making them appear even more vibrant, which is different to, for example, Bluey, in which the colors instead blend together. Cocomelon's also different because it's highly repetitive. There's a reason they have 38 videos with over 1 billion views. A child's brain is wired to learn through repetition, so it feels right to them to watch the same thing over and over again. Cocomelon abuses this in almost every video. For example, in the Yes Yes Playground song, they pick a word to repeat 3 times in every sentence, pairing it with a subtly repeating background lullaby, keeping children hooked. Literally no show or movie puts my son into a deep trance the way Cocomelon does. The second it's on the TV, he turns into a toddler zombie who doesn't see or hear anything else that's going on in the room.
That sounds like a fucking horror movie, dude. Like, you need to curate the content that your kid's watching. Don't just let them go free. Like, you watch the content first, and then let your kid watch it. And I honestly think that you shouldn't be letting your kid watch content made for kids. I didn't watch made for kids content. I turned out alright. I was watching shit like Dragon Ball Z.
This is only exacerbated by Cocomelon's subtitles, which have also been a heavy point of criticism. The letters are not educational, I can barely read them fast enough. It's simply another interesting element to capture your little one's attention. Cocomelon explains in every description, our goal is to help make learning a fun and enjoyable experience for kids, giving you the peace of mind that your children are receiving quality educational content. But people have argued that they're teaching exactly what children shouldn't do. For example, in the No No Bedtime song, the baby refuses to brush his teeth, have a bath, put on pajamas or get in bed. The education is that he eventually agrees to do so, yet a TikTok user was critical.
You can easily figure out how to do this correctly. Like, have 2 kids. One of them not taking a bath, one of them is. The one who not taking a bath is way worse off than the one who took the bath. That's a pretty simple concept.
Stating, anytime I'd ask my son to do a simple task, he'd say no, no, no. He's sitting there watching Cocomelon, which taught him no, 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 and to say no to me. On the topic of education, Jerica Sands stated, these people don't give a shit about our children. They care about money. That's it. Your child's cognitive development in direct exchange for their wealth, and there's pretty good evidence supporting this. A New York Times journalist visited Cocomelon's studio, discovering
how are they making money now? I'm pretty sure kids' content can't make money on YouTube anymore.
Their number one focus is keeping children hooked. Cocomelon's data and analytics team sifts constantly through YouTube numbers to determine exactly what resonates. Should a girl wear black jeans or blue jeans? Should the music be louder or softer? Should the bus be yellow or red? Yellow is the answer, as they use a darker method to ensure that they're correct. Cocomelon has a dedicated Distractotron room, in which once a month children are brought here one at a time and shown a handful of episodes to figure out exactly which parts of the shows are engaging and which are tuned out. Next to the TV
That is some crazy Black Mirror shit, man. Holy shit, what? What? Yo. A distractatron room?
playing Cocomelon, there's a second screen which plays a continuous loop of banal real-world scenes. A guy pouring a cup of coffee, someone getting a haircut, each lasting about 20 seconds. Whenever a youngster looks away from the Moonbug show to glimpse the Distractatron, a note is jotted down. We can see what they're looking at and the exact moment when they got distracted.
Dude, that is actually
education
evil.
Clearly isn't the primary goal. Keeping kids' attention is, and this is proven by Cocomelon's most addictive element, rapid camera cutting. It's crazy how many times the frame changes on Cocomelon. It's the same type of addicting behavior that we experience on a TikTok binge. It's the quick change of frame that releases that dopamine and makes the videos addicting to watch. Count the seconds.
I'm the opposite, man. I hate it when there's a whole bunch of cuts. I like some cuts, and I do like the jump cuts. I don't like it when it's like every shot is everything, every sentence you say is a different cut.
Between a change of frame. Well, TikToker the Circus Brain did exactly this. He firstly counts the changes on My Little Pony, concluding there's about 6 seconds between each cut. He then compares it to Cocomelon.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1.
In her video, The Nightmare That Is Cocomelon, Savantix draws a similar conclusion. She found that 96% of the shots in Baby Shark were shorter than 2 seconds. She then compares 4 different animated shows, again finding Cocomelon has the shorter shots.
The longest shot on a Cocomelon video was 6 seconds. The longest shot on Arcane was 8 seconds. The longest shot on Bluey was 27 seconds. And the longest shot on Encanto was 18 seconds.
Which, when combined with every other element, creates some terrifying statistics. Dr. Kristen Summer explained that when showing an infant normal video content, they'll focus on the screen just 11% of the time. However, when the video is instead switched to Cocomelon, their screen engagement skyrockets to a whopping 74%. This therefore produces stories such as this. I used to volunteer for a preschool and they had song time. A Cocomelon video came on and all of the tots stopped what they were doing, put down their cheese crackers, and remained fixated on the screen for the duration of the video. It was honestly kind of terrifying. YouTuber Saberspark shared his own personal anecdote. He asked to watch a Disney movie with his 2 younger cousins, who both completely refused, and instead spent all day glued to an iPad playing the addictive show. In Cocomelon Made My Kid a Zombie, a mother talks about her son. He would be in a daze while watching it. You could be waving your hand right in front of his face, and he wouldn't move. It was almost scary. This was also discovered by Sarah Mills 98, who explained when the Cocomelon addiction is so real that my 1-year-old can navigate the TV to turn it on by himself. However, nothing shows the addiction better than the Cocomelon TikTok trend. Parents will play the show's intro loudly.
Bro, are we, what year is it? What year is this? Is this 1984? Are we in 1984?
And video their kids sprinting toward the television, where you can witness their mood change instantly. The New York Times journalist found something similar. The kid in the Distractatron had shown up in the midst of a tantrum, which ended the second he heard the Cocomelon theme song. It was no surprise to Wheeler, the head of research. 99% of kids, he said, if they're having issues when they get here, once that Cocomelon song comes on, they're like, life is okay, all is good with the world.
Cocomelon is happy pills.
Obviously, there's a reason for this. Cocomelon is so hyper-stimulating that it actually acts as a drug, and what happens when you take the drug away. Young children experiencing symptoms of addiction and withdrawal, obviously leaving them completely dysregulated. TikTok user ThePoff1 filmed what happens when you take the show away, explaining he'll be inconsolable for at least 10 to 15 minutes after, adding in the description, Cocomelon meltdown is legit. Once you have a taste of the cocoa, it's hard to break the addiction, which this Reddit user had
I still see people showing their kids Cocomelon and letting their kids watch stuff like Cocomelon, and I'm like, dude, are you not paying attention or do you just not fucking care?
experienced even worse. My husband and I have been worried about our child. I can slowly see how she'd throw violent tantrums at home and in church whenever she'd get bored and would want to watch the show.
So don't let your kid watch the show. Holy shit, are these people retarded?
Her behavior changes the moment she watches the show, and she will not even eat her meals if she wouldn't watch it. After these tantrums end, kids can experience a general discomfort in the speed of everyday life. The more they watch the show, the more their brain begins to expect this intense level of stimulation.
Basically, Cocomelon overstimulates their brains so much that everything else just seems slow and boring in comparison.
However, the potential consequences get much worse than this. As mentioned at the start, it was the cause of a child's speaking problems, with a notable reply reading, "Same thing happened with my daughter too. She's 4 but can't speak properly. She knows the words, but she does not like to frame the sentence or speech. She has been watching these Cocomelons or such other stuffs for 2 or 3 years. Hope we're not too late." Over on Reddit, a speech
How do you let your kid watch Cocomelon for that long? Knowing that it's causing problems? Oh, I know how. Because you don't care. And you're wanting time to yourself. Because you're selfish. You piece of shit, you shouldn't have had a child if you're not gonna fucking watch it. I'm sorry. Oh, I don't like people. Parents are stupid.
language pathologist explained, screen time in general is linked with speech delays for a variety of reasons, but Cocomelon is excessively bad. Firstly, unlike other TV shows or movies, it doesn't have a story. It's just very short clips with poorly written songs.
And there's no morals being taught. And there's no, like, work being shown. Not showing you how to do things other than, like, you have to take a bath. No, no, no. I don't want to take a bath. That's what it's teaching you. And I don't know. What is it teaching? Does it actually teach anything other than behaviors? And apparently it's doing the opposite of what people are wanting it to do. I mean, people actually just want it to distract their kid. They don't care what it does other than that.
The kids aren't able to follow the plot, learn vocabulary, and see the resolution of a conflict, supported by infant specialist Meg Fora.
And the problem with fast-paced TV programs is that we find that little one's language development is slower.
On the Agents of Speech YouTube channel, this is again confirmed.
The main problem with watching videos on the internet is that they don't know how to use the language that they learn.
But he adds that 4 to 5 hours of screen time per day can make a toddler completely non-verbal. 4 to 5 hours is obviously a lot of time, but in Cocomelon Made My Kid a Zombie, researchers discovered that 5-year-olds who watch more than 2 hours of TV a day tended to have lower attention spans and were 7.7 times more likely to show symptoms of ADHD. These screen times might be even lower for Cocomelon specifically because, as explained by Jerica Sands, not all screen time is created equal. A child who just watched 30 minutes of Cocomelon and a child who just watched 30 minutes of Trash Truck will look like a very, very different child. Thankfully, here lies a simple solution. Sierra Renee explained, my 2-year-old is speech delayed and addicted to Cocomelon. Switched to Miss Rachel 2 days ago, and he's already saying more words and hasn't had any tantrums. Kim.it shared an almost identical anecdote. My 8-month-old was obsessed with Cocomelon and having bad tantrums, so I cancelled Cocomelon and only let her watch Miss Rachel, and she said her first word within the first 3 days of watching. Clearly, parents are able to simply change the channel, but not before leaving Cocomelon a massive...
That's crazy that they just moved over to a different channel to distract their kid because, oh, it taught her to say her first word in 3 days. Bro, that's your fucking job. You're letting the TV... You don't even know this lady. You don't know... You're not watching the show. So you don't know what kind of crazy nonsense is being placed into your children's head subliminally. You have to teach them.
A amount of
They got
dislikes.
us.
They've
They
therefore
got
earned
us.
the title the absurdly popular kid show parents hate, and Cocomelon has actually responded to the criticism that explain our shows are not intended to replace outdoor playtime or playdates. They have a place in children's entertainment time, and as with food, exercise, etc., it comes down to each parent
True.
to find the right and appropriate balance for their children.
That one part is true. That one part. It comes down to each parent to find the right and appropriate balance for their children. This shit should be illegal. It should be illegal to drive the attention spans of children absolutely wild. I don't care if it's up to the parents. If the parents don't know what the thing is doing, I don't think it's much their fault. They definitely should be not throwing their kids to a tablet and like, here, tablet, teach my kid, because I don't want to. Because I'm lazy.
Our responsibility is ensuring that the quality of the content that we produce is high and beneficial for the development of a child's cognitive and soft skills. It is worth adding that our social media communities are filled with stories of parents who experience firsthand how Moonbug content helps their children. Cocomelon does have a crazy amount of supporters, but it's obvious that some of them are simply ignoring the downsides. My baby learned the alphabet and numbers from Cocomelon. She may not speak a complete sentence, but she expresses her wants through phrases. But is it Cocomelon's responsibility to ensure that babies are talking? Well, no. People love blaming cartoons and games for raising children, and not the shitty parents that don't step in to stop them from watching so much.
Agreed. But also, cartoons should not be manipulative. Because like the old Disney cartoons, for example, there were subliminal messaging. There was subliminal messaging in those cartoons. Parents would watch those, but they didn't catch it either. If you'd sit there and watch these shows that you're letting your kid just run away with on the tablet, you would realize this shit is brainwashing my child. All of it, all the content. Miss Rachel is doing it too. Miss Rachel is making kids gay.
Cocomelon is actually a really sad symbol of parents giving their children tablets instead of actually parenting and interacting with them. Ultimately, parents are the people who choose how much their child consumes.
Cocomelon should be illegal, and parents, don't give your kid a tablet at all. For any reason. Wait until they're like 16 before you give them any devices like that they can just run away with and use on their own. I mean, you can let them use some devices, sure. But, like, don't let it be theirs. Don't let them have it for, like, 4 or 5 hours. Maybe 30 minutes of old Bill Nye the Science Guy or some shit. Like, what's that? A bunch of the PBS cartoons. What's the math one called? With the bird and the Gilbert Gottfried. Hey, man, I have a live show. I do it every weekday morning. I film all these reactions during that live show. And later in the day, I do gaming videos. But every morning, 8 a.m., 7 a.m. Central Time. I'm Central Time. But for a lot of people that are going to be watching this, it's going to be 8 a.m. Some of them 6 a.m. Some of them going to be even different times than that. I got people all over the world watching this. If you want to support me, I got a PayPal down there in the description.